Hello and welcome to another Stamp with Amy K Facebook Live, and I'm just out here pulling up comments and things, pulling up the video so that I can see your comments, and hopefully a few of you are joining today. If you are, that is awesome, and if not, I hope that you'll check out the replay and see what you see here. So I have got a little card. All right, cool, looks like I'm live where I want to be. So I've got a little card here that I made with the Fireside Trimmings stamp set bundle, and I did a little fall birthday card just because I liked it and I thought it was pretty. Hey Jeannie, I'm glad that you are here today, and Connie as well, so thanks so much for joining today. So this is the card we're going to be making. Oh, Karen made it home in time from work. Yep, and Debbie's here, and Barbara. Hello everybody, thanks so much for joining. And Jean Ann is here as well, so good to see you all. And Jennifer, all right, look at that. All right, getting a nice little group here. So this is what we are going to be making today. And Jerry, hello, thanks for hopping in. I used the Fireside Trimmings stamp set bundle, and I actually used the whole bundle this time instead of just the sentiment like I did the last time around. So this is the stamp set. If you haven't seen it, it is in the mini catalog. Hey Rosie, I see you're here, and Lori and Kathy, thanks for joining. So this is the stamp set bundle. It is a photopolymer one, which is good. I love those. Real easy to stamp with. It's got some good sentiments in here, and got some good images that kind of run across lots of holidays. So we've got fall, we have Christmas, so you could do Thanksgiving. So all sorts of good things that you can do with this. So again, great stamp set. And of course, you all know that I love a bundle. So here are the dies. These are the Fireside dies that coordinate with the stamp set. There are a couple of dies in here. Whoops, I have the clock. Seems like I sort of stuck that in an odd place. So there are a couple little dies here that are banners, and like this is a little holly garland that are designed to go on the fireplace when you stamp it. So it's definitely a really cool one. I love this. And I can't wait to use, actually, of all the images in here, that little deer is really my favorite. And I love the trees too, but the deer is really cute. So that's one that I definitely can't wait to use. So as you see in this die set, there are several of the things that cut out images, and then there are these two actually cut out flames for your fire when you have that running, or running on, I don't know, when the fireplace is going. And then here's holly, and this is star garland. These are bats, actually, which I don't know how well those show up on the video. And then this is just a little set of banners. And again, there aren't any stamped images that coordinate with those things, but they're all in there. And then here's the little, again, I'm not a fireplace person, but, don't know all the tool names, but this is the little rack that you put the wood on. Whatever that's called in the fireplace. Again, I'm sure somebody knows. Hey, Patricia, I'm glad that you're here just in time to catch me fumbling through all of this. So, and then this actually die cuts a frame, and this will die cut what looks like a mirror or a picture, or you could also use this for your sentiment, so that's fantastic too, so however you want to use it. And then again, there are dies that will cut out pretty much all of the images, all of the stamped images in this set. So it's definitely a great stamp and die set. I'm going to set the dies over here because we'll be using those in a minute. And then I also used on this card, as usual, the Hippo and Friends dies. I can't stop using them. Use the little octagon here, the smallest one, to cut out your birthday wishes sentiment. And the fire grate. See, you guys always know, and I'm just like, I don't know, something that you put the fire on. So, all right, so the sentiment for the birthday wishes came from Butterfly Wishes stamp set, which this one has been in the annual catalog for a little while. So hopefully you already have it, and if not, you definitely need to get it because it's a pretty one. And the last stamp set that I used is actually on the inside of it. I used the sentiment from the gift wrapped stamp set, which is, again, one that is in the new mini catalog. So that is it for the card. So we are going to go ahead. Just wanted to talk with you really quickly about the Get and Go starter kit promotion. Stampin' Up! Has a great starter kit promotion going on this month, during the month of September. If you join, you get your regular $125 worth of merchandise of your choice with your starter kit. And you pay $99 plus taxes if that applies in your area. Everything ships for free. And then in addition, Stampin' Up! Is going to give you 16 card bases and the supplies needed to make 16 cards. You're going to get 2 stamp sets, the Queen Anne's Lace and the So Much Love stamp sets, and the rhinestone, a pack of rhinestones for free in addition with your starter kit. So if you are not a demonstrator and are interested in joining, it's a great deal. Let me know if you have questions on it. I'd be happy to chat with you more about it. Hey, Danette, I'm glad you're here, and Denise as well from Pennsylvania. All right, so let me get the few things set aside as I'm throwing papers around, just that I need to do, and we will get going on the stamping. All right, ahead of time I went ahead and cut out some pieces so that you wouldn't have to sit and watch all of this, but this is a piece of crushed curry cardstock and is cut to 3 3/8, yep, 3 3/8 by 5.5. And then I've got a couple of pieces of designer series paper. This one I should probably measure. It's 4 1/8 by 3 1/4. And again, all the measurements will be out on my blog tomorrow, so no need to worry about writing everything down. But this is from the Plaid Tidings Designer Series paper. And then I have a little piece of the wood grain Designer Series paper from the In Good Taste Designer Series paper pack. So this pack of paper is in the mini catalog, and this pack of paper is in the big annual catalog. So if you have not seen them yet, definitely go take a look at them. And I'm going to use a little Stampin' Seal here. Hopefully I don't glue my finger to anything, because I just stuck my finger right in the adhesive. There we go. All right. Just going to run a little Stampin' Seal around the edge here. Yeah, now I got my finger all gluey. Ugh. Okay, and we're going to adhere this to the top part of the crushed curry cardstock. And then we're just going to take this little one and adhere it to the bottom of the crushed curry cardstock. Whoop. My driving is definitely being challenged today. All right, so just going to take it and adhere it all the way down at the bottom and try to make sure that I get the two sides lined up as well as I can. I think I cut it fairly straight. Hopefully I did. All right, then we're going to take that and we're going to adhere it on the front of a thick Whisper white card base. My original project I had on a 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5.5 card base. And this one, I actually did it as a standard kind of book fold card, and this is 8.5 or 5.5 by 8.5 and scored at 4 1/4. So however you choose to do your card bases is just fine. It'll work with either one, but I try to remember to show you sometimes, not always. My preferred way to make cards is to have them, or to use the more, is it landscape? The taller one, not necessarily the book fold cards. I don't know, I tend to like the look of those a little bit better. But let's go ahead and get going here and get this adhered together. And I'm trying to make sure that it's centered and straight, which is sometimes challenging for me, especially when I'm on video for whatever reason. I usually don't have too much trouble when I'm on my own, but the minute I get online and in front of you guys, then I glue everything lopsided. So hopefully I did it fairly evenly here. But again, just used a little Stampin' Seal to adhere the two pieces together. Portrait fold. See, again, words are hard for me today. So, okay. Ahead of time, I went ahead and stamped a few things, and we're going to do a little bit of coloring and a little bit of die cutting and a little bit of stamping too. But these are stamped in gray granite ink on Whisper white cardstock, and this is obviously the fireplace image. I went ahead and pre-cut that, and I'm going to take my light gray granite Stampin' Blends marker, and I'm going to add just a little bit of a shadow, and I don't even have to do this very neatly, but add a little bit of a shadow kind of right around the inside of the fireplace here. And then I'll show you my little trick that I use with the color lifter. I prefer to use the bullet end. I know some people use the brush end successfully. I find the bullet ends a little bit easier for me so that I have a little more control over what I'm doing. And then I'm going to take that because I want to basically lighten and sort of blend in, make it look not like a really harsh shadow, just make it look like a very light shadow. I'm just taking my color lifter Stampin' Blends marker, and I'm just coloring over it. And it does take sort of a minute, so you just color over it once and kind of, try to blend it a little bit, and then stop for a second and take a look at it and see what it looks like. And if you still want it lighter, or if you have dark spots in it, like right here, I can see this is going to be a little bit darker than what I want it to be, then just come back in with your color lifter again and do a little bit more coloring. And if you accidentally do like I did and kind of push it outside the line, just take your color lifter and go back and push it back in the line. So it's really easy to do, and like I said, it's simple, and it adds just a little bit. That's really all I wanted, was just a little bit of a different shade in there to look like it was a shadow inside the fireplace. So that's my one little tip that I do anytime that I kind of, even if I'm doing snowmen and things like that, a lot of times I'll put a little bit of pool party on a snowman and then do the same thing with the color lifter. Just come back in and kind of really lift out almost all the color you put in, but not quite everything. So I'm going to set this aside for a second and let it dry really well and make sure that it looks the way that I want it to while I'm working on the other images here. And I'm going to start, I have got Mango Melody, light and dark, and we're going to start by coloring the pumpkins. And I'm going to go light first. And again, just basically put color over almost all of the pumpkin. I'm going to leave a little section right in the middle uncolored on all of them. See if I can talk and color at the same time, which, you know, sometimes they have to, you know, hold my mouth just so in order to stay inside the lines, and sometimes I still make a mess. All right, going to come back in with a little bit of dark here, and again, I'm just putting it sort of where I feel like the dark shadows would be, which is top and bottom and sort of around where the lines are at on the pumpkin. Same thing on this one. And then the same thing on the little pumpkin. And then, oh, the color lifter, yeah, that's like, I don't even remember where I learned that. Somewhere along the line, I'm sure somebody told me, but it's one of those things that, it may have been my stamping friend Sue, I can't remember. Somebody told me about the color lifter, and I'm like, oh, that's brilliant. And I love that it kind of shoves the color around a little bit too, so if you get a little crazy with your coloring, like sometimes I do, it lets you sort of put color back where it's supposed to be, which is a good thing too. So I'm taking the color lifter again and just kind of coloring over the middle of it. And I may put a little bit, depending on what it looks like when I'm done here, I may come back in and add a little bit more color, or I may just leave it alone. But again, just sort of taking my color lifter and trying to lighten and blend a little bit with it. And try not to take all the color out of it, but I do want it to be kind of a little more muted, so that was sort of why I used the color lifter to blend rather than adding more of the light. I went with a little bit more of the light, but not a lot more. So, all right, then I have got the light crumb cake. And since the stems are so little on here, I didn't really feel like I needed to do a whole lot of blending or coloring on those. I just took the little marker and kind of dabbed it on the ends of the stems. Next up, we're going to color some leaves here. I think we will do those with light and dark Mango Melody as well. And again, I'm not going to take a ton of time to color these really neatly and spend a lot of time on it. I'm just coming in. This is light that I'm putting down first. And I'm going to come back in and add just a little bit of dark and maybe blend the two together, maybe not, depending on how they look when I get done with them. So just adding a little bit of dark here in kind of towards the center of the leaves. And I think we're going to call that good. All right, next up is the clock, and I used So Saffron light and dark on that, and I used the light one for, whoops, wrong end. I'm going to use the brush end of it. So I used the light So Saffron for the center around the clock, and then came back with dark and did the very edge. I keep grabbing the wrong end of these markers. So this is dark So Saffron, and I'm just going to go really lightly around the edge of it, trying to keep it inside the lines, which sometimes I do better than others at. But the one nice thing is that the markers do blend together a little bit, so if you accidentally go out of the lines a little and into the project, nobody can tell anyway. Although I do see a goober here where I went inside the lines on the white part of the clock, so I'm just going to take my color lifter and come back and push that back out, and then nobody will know. And then the last thing I'm going to color, I have got a light, whoop, did I color? Oh, light gray granite, that's the one. You know, I actually think I used gray granite on those, but either way, it's all good. I intended to use crumb cake, and I think I grabbed my gray granite instead for the stems and the pumpkins, but either way it'll work. So I'm going to use my gray granite light marker and do the same thing here on the vase, which for whatever reason I stamped it upside down. I'm not really sure why, but it doesn't matter. And then I'm going to grab my color lifter and do the same thing here that I did on the pumpkins. Just sort of color in the center, kind of scribbling over it with my color lifter to blend it a little bit and lighten it. And give it a second to dry and make sure that it looks the way I want it to. May do a little bit more lightening on that. You know, I actually think I colored this with crumb cake too on the original one that I did, but that's okay. We'll go with gray granite because that's what I have out and done. So, and I see that I got a little wild with my coloring, so I'm just going to use my color lifter to push it back inside the lines and give it a second, and it'll be all dry and you won't be able to see anything around the edges of it. The fireplace, I think, looks the way that I want it to. And color lifter lessons today, yeah, that's, like I said, it's a tool that you kind of have to take a minute and get used to using it, but definitely it's very, very helpful, and one of those that you really need it if you don't have it. So, all right, so let's get out the magnetic cutting plate, and this is one of the add-on things for the new die cutting machine. You can see I've been using mine a little, so this is the platform for the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And I've got the dies over here, the Fireside dies, and I'm going to start lining them up. So here's the die for the little branch set that's in there. And I'm hoping that I'm getting these all on here straight, and if not, I'll fix it later. But die cutting is always, like I said, it's one of those things that I do a lot of, and I usually do pretty well at it when I'm off screen, and then I get on screen, and for whatever reason I can't get anything to cut straight. But that's okay. One nice thing about this magnetic plate, as opposed to the old one that we had with the previous machine, is that this is magnetized all over it. So we don't have the issue with the little dies like this kind of zooming all over the plate like they used to. So this is definitely a handy little thing to have. And in case you're wondering, yes, it does work with the old machine that we had. It's just a little different layering on it, but just so you know, it will work. So if you just want to get the plate for right now, you can do that. So I'm going to zoom over here to the side and die cut these quick. All right. Oh, yes, my plate does, yep, it's designed to get chopped up. It's a self-healing mat, so it's, it is a consumable item that at some point we'll have to replace it, but for right now you can use it until it starts to get really icky and starts to fall apart, and then you'll know it's time to get a new one. All right, so I've got the little pieces here die cut. Hopefully, yep, there we go. I'm going to set my plate over here. And then we're going to stamp the sentiment and get that die cut. And again, it's the birthday wishes that I'm using from the Butterfly Wishes stamp set. And I've got some Mango Melody ink that I'm going to stamp with over here. And all right, so we'll set that aside. And then the die that I'm using is from the Hippo and Friends dies. Again, it's the little octagon here. And so I'm just going to take that, put it over the top here, and run it through the die cutting machine quickly. Hopefully y'all are having a great Tuesday. I keep forgetting it's Tuesday. It feels like, with the holiday yesterday here in the United States, it feels like today should be Monday. But we're in fact on Tuesday already. So, all right, let's get the card front. Finish up assembling the card front here. I'm going to use a little Stampin' Seal to adhere the fireplace on to the card front. You can use liquid glue if you would prefer on this as well, or glue dots, or whatever your favorite adhesive is. Stampin' Seal seems to work well for me, so I'm going to keep using that. I didn't line it up like super precisely. I just kind of tried to get it so that it looked like this was sitting on top of the floor. This is supposed to be floor. This is supposed to be the wallpaper in the background. So that was my goal, is to put it on and have it look like it was sitting on the floor and not floating about. So. Will it work with the Big Shot with the old platform and the thin die adapter and the cutting plate? Yes, it will. That's the exact sandwich that you need to use. So, yep, and it works very well. So I tried it out. So, yep, it definitely does work together, and it's very nice to know that. You can swap out the old one that you have if you are like me and got frustrated with it and with the little dies zooming all over the place. You can definitely just get the plate. So. All right, I'm using glue dots to adhere the little die cut pieces that I have done to the card front. that I've done, that I've made, that I've, stamped, I guess. Just a couple little glue dots here and there to hold the pieces together, and hopefully get this one. Whoop, that's not quite where I want it. I think I was trying to decide which way this. There we go. I think that's the way it's supposed to go on. A couple more glue dots here on the back of the pumpkins. Make sure that I've got that one hidden down in there. And then I'm just going to place the pumpkins sort of in front of the vase a little bit here on the card front. And I've got my little clock, and we're going to put that up on the top of the mantle. And again, just kind of tucking it under so that it looks like it's sitting on top of it. That was my goal with it. And then you're welcome, Barbara. I'm glad that, yes, it definitely does work, and it works very well. So hopefully you'll be happy with it too. All right, so I've got this frame and the little mirror that I have pre-cut. This is cut from silver foil sheets, so it's not like for real mirror. But then I've got the frame that I cut from crumb cake cardstock. And again, just cut them with the Fireside dies, and I'm going to use a little tiny bit of the multi-purpose liquid glue. And I'm going to run it around the edge here of my die cut. And then I do have my little tweezers here, which hopefully I will be able to pick it up, get it flipped over, and get it glued to the right spot. As you can see, hopefully you can see it in here on the video, there's a little kind of dent around the edge, and that is what you line up the inside part of your frame with. So that will give you a little bit of a tip when you're adhering the two pieces together, that it should fit perfectly one inside the other. And it gives you a little bit of room to glue on the back too, so that is definitely nice. Going to add a couple of, you know what, I think I'll use a little bit of liquid glue here again on the back. I was going to put glue dots, but they'll probably leave a little lump in there, and I don't necessarily want an extra lump in there. So, all right, let me see if I can get this lined up fairly close to the center. And give it a little press here. I think I actually put this one down just a little bit lower than I did my original one, and I actually kind of like it better. All right. Just put the set on your order. Good. It's a good set. I think you're going to have fun playing with it. And then next up, I've got my sentiment that's all done here. Just going to add a couple little Stampin' dimensionals to the back of that, and it will adhere it to the card front. And then just do a little quick stamping and adhering on the inside, and we will be all done. You know, I should try to set this up to make sure that I'm getting it fairly centered, which I think it's hard when I, intentionally put all this off center. It's hard for me to tell where the center is to put the sentiment, but I think I got it pretty close. All right, on the inside of the card, started with Whisper White cardstock that's cut to 4 by 5 1/4, and a little bit of Mango Melody ink. And again, the sentiment is from the gift wrapped stamp set, which is from the mini catalog, and I will try to get it stamped on here fairly straight, which probably would have been easier if I'd put it on the block straight, but apparently I was not paying very much attention when I did that. All right, so we got the sentiment stamped in there, and then we're going to use a little bit of Stampin' Seal to adhere a small piece of the Designer Series paper. This is from the Plaid Tidings 6x6 Designer Series paper pack. Going to just adhere that to the bottom, and then trim off the excess like that, and then add a little more Stampin' Seal to the back, maybe. And we are almost done. Maybe. Yep. There we go. You love this set? Yes, it's a good one, Kathy. It's one of those that just again didn't really jump out at me initially when I looked at the catalog, but it's really got some good pieces in it, and it's really easy to use. I mean, it's surprisingly easy to use. I thought it was going to be a little more fiddly than it was, and really it's not. I mean, the images are kind of the perfect size, that they don't really require a lot of extra effort and a lot of extra messing around, and it's all good and it's all done. So. So that is my card share for today. Hopefully you enjoyed the video and learned a few things here along the way. Definitely need to take a look at the Fireside Trimmings stamp set bundle. If you don't have it already, you need to get it. Listen to all these ladies out here, you definitely need to get it. So thanks so much for joining me today. Again, the details will be posted out on my blog tomorrow, which is stampwithamyk.com. So I'll be posting all of the measurements and all that sort of thing out there, so no need to worry about writing that down. And I will share a link in this video as soon as I have the blog post up and running. So thanks so much for joining today. I will plan to see you guys on Friday at 2 o'clock Eastern Time out on my YouTube channel live, and then back here again on Facebook next week Tuesday at 2 o'clock Eastern Time live as well. So thanks so much for joining. Have a fantastic rest of your Tuesday, and we will chat soon.